Hey, it's Sam on What Yacht To Do, and today I'm going to give you a little bit of a introduction to probably one of the cheapest insurances that you can do on your boat, which is impellers. So let me tell you a little story. We got the Here's to Us out of storage, put her in and going through the systems. We started up the generator and we left the generator run for a while. We were seeing wanted to monitor the charging of it, and at about an hour and 15 minutes it shut off, and Rev and I both looked at each other go like, did you do that? No, we're both sitting there. So the first thing is go down to the engine room, take a check down there. I told Rev to go outside and look for the water discharge, and I started up again and up, puff of smoke but no water. So what happened is the water circulation had failed. Okay, so let me tell you what I did was first go down and see if we have a clogged strainer. Okay, so I unclogged it, took the strainer out, it wasn't clogged. The other thing I did was, while I had that seacock off, you want to turn off your seacock so that the water's not going to come through, is I just cracked the seacock a little bit to see if water was coming through, that we didn't have a blockage in the intake, and water was coming through. So put that strainer back on, and the next thing is, okay, look at the fuel. Fuel looks good, and now is, okay, impeller. All right, so one of the things, this is the old impeller, and you really want to change these things out on a good frequency, because really they are the cheapest insurance you can get. This is about a $45 deal at today's prices. And if these little blades break off and they start to go into other parts of the generator, you're going to have a big issue. So when I pulled off the cover plate, the blades were intact. Thank goodness for that. However, I stopped there because I had seen somebody do it once, and I decided, hey, I'm not going to attempt to do this. So we got the mechanic to come down, and yay. What happened is kind of what we thought, is this little hub that's inside here, little steel hub that goes on there, that goes in there and drives the impeller. It had worn the rubber on the inside, so it was spinning. It was catching sometimes and not the other time. So new impeller kit here. It's got an O-ring in it. It's got some lubrication in it, and then of course the new impeller. And doesn't come with a key, so you're going to have to use the same key for that. The key is what locks it in place and gets it to spin. So while we're waiting here, I said, you know what, let me look in my book and see when the last time we did the impellers on the main engines, and it was probably time to do it. I probably could have gone a little bit more, but again, a little cheap insurance for you. These are the impellers that we took out. This is the starboard one, and this is the main. Okay, and so I had changed this one more recently than this one, and you can see there's starting to be a little bit of wear. And the same thing on your engines is, you don't want these blades to break off. It's what propels the water through. If these blades break off, you're going to be chasing them through hoses and the heat exchanger and having a fun time doing that. So change them as they are recommended. When you get the new one, okay, for your boat, this one happens to be the Sherwood 17,000K, and it will come with all the information you need, as well as a date on the bottom as to when this was manufactured. Also in here is, a guide to how to do it, an explosive diagram there so you can see all the parts. The other thing that it will come with is, this is the old one now, is the O-ring, and then there's keys in here as well, and a retainer cap. Now this is the old retainer cap, and I'm just going to take it out to show you what it looks like. There's your O-ring. There are your keys, and they're going to put a couple different key sizes in there. This is the size that we use, and this is the old one. You can kind of see it has some residue on it. And then the all-important retainer cap that goes in, the last thing that goes in, and that will go against your wear plate there that spins around. So the next thing is, we got them done. Hired somebody to do it because I can do the one easily on the starboard side, but I'm not that nimble, and so I hired somebody to do the port side, and since it was there, okay, let's do the starboard side of the engine. The port side of the engine is a little bit difficult to access, and in some cases I've had mechanics say it's easier to take the water pump off. This particular mechanic I think now holds the world record for changing the port side impeller without taking the water pump off. He got it done, and he showed me the technique that he used on the port side when he did the starboard side, so I have a little bit of a couple tricks there with that. What I do is I cut these off of the package. It has the date on here, and I'm going to enter that. The last step will be to enter all this maintenance that I did in what I call the RUM book, and that stands for repairs, upgrades, and maintenance. It's a log of everything that I've done. You can kind of see how it's thick there. I keep the receipts in there so that, hey, when we do sell the boat, we can say, hey, here's the maintenance we've done, and we're good to go. As far as a new owner will have that records. And it's also good for your knowledge to say, hey, when was the last time I changed the impeller? I could go right to that. And I use an Excel spreadsheet, which in one of our online courses, I give you an example of that particular spreadsheet. So if you're not signed up for our newsletter, please do. You can do that at whatyachttodo.com or greatloopacademy.com. We'll see you next time on What Yacht To Do.